My name's Wendell Crow. I'm a dairy farmer in Buckeye, Arizona. Everybody thinks cows, but we're a goat dairy. In fact, we're more of a dairy than most cow dairies because we milk the goats and produce the product and deliver it to the restaurants. We do the whole thing all the way through. I've been blessed since I was 6 days old. I was adopted, and my folks owned a cow dairy who adopted me. And so that's all I've ever known how to do, all I've ever done. When we sold the cow dairy, we didn't know, we were lost, we didn't know what we were gonna do, and we ended up milking goats instead. So it worked out. They started out milking 20 cows a day by hand, him and my granddad both doing it that way. They used to put the milk in cans and drive it to the store. So technology's made a big difference in that one. Goat milk is the most drank milk in the world, and their goat meat is the most eaten meat in the world on them. And the reason is they're fantastic at turning poor forage into fantastic milk and food. We can't eat grass, we can't eat sticks, leaves, things like that. Our body won't digest them. These girls can eat stuff like that and turn it into fantastic milk that we can eat. The way cheese was invented was they used to use stomachs for water bottles, like out of your camel or something like that. And then one day the guy is riding his camel across the desert and he figures he's gonna milk his milk into that water jug. When he got where he was going, the rennet in the stomach had turned that milk into cheese. And so that's how cheese was invented. Rennet is an enzyme that comes from the stomach of a lamb or a calf. It has to be a baby that hasn't sucked on their mom. And then the rennet we use is one that's derived from a mushroom. They call it a vegetable rennet, but it comes from a mushroom is where it comes from. It's what makes the milk coagulate into a curd. If you didn't use rennet, you would make something like sour cream or the quark we make. Those don't have rennet in them. They are cultured products. Compared to what we were doing before, when I milked the cows, it was more impersonal. We just shipped it off to the creamery. We never saw anyone. Now doing it ourselves, our name is on the product. Are you helping him? And when you have your name on there, you do everything completely different. We make sure they have the best feed, the best care. And any dairy animal, if you don't take care of them, they will not produce milk at all. They have to be happy. They have to be happy to produce milk. If one gets depressed out here, they'll dry themselves up and not milk. The animal's attitude and their health is the most important thing of all. When we handle our own milk, we make sure and only use the best milk we have. We make sure we don't run our bucks with our does, and it just makes all the difference in the world when you're doing your own. They get a lot of bad rap on goat products because they've had bad ones. There's a lot of people out there producing goat cheese and goat milk that aren't very good at it. They don't know how to produce a good milk. You have to produce a fantastic milk to make a fantastic cheese. When I milk cows, I always got my bonus on the dairy. When we're milking goats, we have a fantastic somatic cell count or bacteria count. Everything is fantastic on them, and it gets you a great milk for it. Doing 200 a day, about 200 gallons a day of milk, and they produce close to 400 pounds of cheese a day is what we're getting out of them. Our cheese is so popular, we can't keep up with the demand. If we ever get to where we are milking more goats than what we can sell, the cheese, then we'll start doing hard cheeses. But right now, the Chev, the Quark, and the Feta, they just keep us wiped out on that. This week, I was $4,000 short over what I could have sold. I needed that much more milk this week is how short we were. But here in Phoenix, as soon as it hits 100 degrees, then our market drops out. You always got to have like plan A, B, C, D. Uh-oh. About to eat my microphone. You always got to have a lot of plans when you're in business. And so we're working on B next, but I got C and D. Any milk, the fresher the better when you're making cheese. If you're using an old milk, it loses the flavor. It'll start tasting goaty. If you make it every day, just as it comes out of the goat, which is what we do, it makes all the difference in the world on the flavor. I sell my cheese for 4 times more than what a chef can buy it at Costco for. And the reason they buy it from me is the flavor, because they could go down and get a lot cheaper cheeses. There's a lot of people making goat cheese, but ours tastes fantastic. That's why they buy it. They're easy to me, because that's all I know, but they're a lot of work. You have to trim hooves. You have to understand the ruminant with the four stomachs. You keep their diet exact all the time. If you change it up, they'll get sick on you. With a ruminant, the four stomachs, when a goat eats, they fill up their first stomach, their rumen. Then they'll go lay down and they'll spit up their food a second time, chew it a second time, chewing their cud. Then they swallow it and it goes to the other stomachs. The reason they would do that in the wild, if there were predators around, they'd run out in the meadow, gobble up all the grass they could really fast, then go lay down in the trees, hang out and hide out and digest it later. And so they're just a fantastic creation as far as what they can do with stuff that we could never eat and then turn it into a good milk. Everybody here is named. We started out naming them after friends and family. And so if her name was Juanita, her daughter was Barbara, Myrna, and Kathy. And then you move on down the line, and then so it's Kathy's Renee or Barbara's Michelle, and everybody moves down the line. We've just about run out of names. We're starting to work on movies now. So we've run out of family to name them after. We never have doubled up on names either. So we're moving to movies and food names now. On any dairy animal, they have to be the most important thing in your life. If they aren't treated right, they will not produce milk. You won't be in business anytime at all. Everybody thinks that dairymen are mean to their cows or mean to their goats. If you don't give them the best feed you can buy, the best medical care they can get, they are not going to produce milk. You have to take care of them all the time. And see, if you do it, they love you. These girls know we take care of them. And we even on ours, we let the moms raise the babies, which is fantastic. Very few dairies do that. They're a lot better at raising kids than I do. We take them in twice a day and milk them, but they raise their own babies. And it makes the mom happier. Her transition into having the kids goes better. She's not stressed out. The kids grow like crazy. It just works out great for everybody. We have to breed them before they produce milk. We breed them at 7 months to have their first kid when they're 13 months old. And then once a year after that, you continue to breed them every year. When they quit breeding, that's when they're no longer producing milk at that time. And these goats, we have some that'll milk up to 2 years in between breedings, that milk straight through. So it's a fantastic herd of Nubian goats. And there's different herds. There's some goats are for show, and some goats are for dairy, and ours are for dairy. Ours are for producing milk. Nubians are an African breed. The reason they do so well in Arizona are these big ears, which they don't like being played with very often. And the reason is they bite each other on the ear. So they're real touchy about their ears. But these ears are for cooling. And so here in Arizona, they cool off. It was last year, it was like 117 one day. And my cows would never leave the shade on a hot day. They wouldn't eat. And on this day, I thought, well, I'll go check the goats, make sure everybody hasn't died. It's so hot. They were all up at the manger eating. They're standing out in the sun eating like no big deal. And so they take the heat better than I do. They do really well here. The benefit of the buying local is the economy, helps that out, fantastic, of course. But on the local, we're doing small batches. We're more precise on what we're doing, and you get your local terroir. I think I'm saying that right. The French word, terroir. I think I got it right. But you get your local flavors. You know, here we have mesquite. We feed our girls some mesquite trees for a snack. Your local air, everything from around here. Our hay is grown right across the river from us. We only use alfalfa and barley is what we feed them, so they get fantastic feed. And locally, it just keeps everything as a community, And it's so much better for me that I finally know where my milk's going. I talk to the customers. I get to go to cheese and wine dinners and talk about cheese. I mean, it's a blast. I have fun. From a mesophilic culture, we can make feta, chev, curds, all kinds of different cheeses. It's just a matter of using different times and temperatures according to what cheese you're making, how long they set, and what temperature you cook them at.
Often called the mushroom of the gods, lion's mane has a long history of medicinal use. This popular nootropic has been shown to enhance focus and increase cognition, helping you feel more productive and accomplished. Research studies have also shown that lion's mane is neuroprotective, giving you peace of mind as you power through your day. Try lion's mane and experience the mental clarity and productivity boost you've been missing.
Any mammal doesn't produce milk unless they have a kid. They have to have a baby. And so if we have where we breed them once a year, some goats do so well that we only breed them every other year. Those girls, I'll still breed them sometimes because they're such a good goat. I hate to not get replacements out of them to keep the herd going. And so what we do is we keep all of our girls and we let the moms raise them, and then at 1 year they have to be bred to have their kid at 13 months. The moms are bred again, and so it just keeps going. It's funny, a lot of times in the barn you'll see a mom, a daughter, and a granddaughter standing by each other. So they find each other anyway, still milk together, hanging out together. Without treating them right, they do not produce. And they seriously can get depressed. And if they're not being treated right, somebody's being mean to them. And there are idiots out there that run farms. And that's the one you see on YouTube and everywhere else, is the idiot who's beating his cows or something like that. 99% love their animals. And that's how they make their money. That's how they've made their money for generations in their family. Completely different than what is out there. I'd say that's the biggest one, is that they're doing it more as a factory. And there's very few farms I would call a factory. They may be big, but it's still a family. It's fathers and sons out there working the farm every day. Shit, she chewed it in half. She bit it in half. Damn it, I told you those back teeth were bad.
I think that's the...
Are we good?
We got 2 for a reason, so that's a good thing.
All right. Comb down the beard.
There we go.
Ready.
Excellent. All right. So, vegan approved, huh?
Yeah, definitely vegan approved. I'll go back over that one. I have a couple of customers that buy cheese from me because we know we treat our animals well. And they like the way we let the moms raise the babies. We try to give the old girls away once they're done producing. And so they buy cheese from me. And they buy the peppercorn feta. They make me swear not to tell anyone who they are. But they call it their steak, is what it is. It's their steak. They need some protein, I think. We've been a family business here since 1912, started milking. My wife's family and my family's been milking cows here that long. And then it doesn't matter if it's your kid or an in-law taking over it works either way. My dad ended up with our cow dairy from my mom's family. And then on my side, right now, my 4 kids, none of them like the farm. My oldest son-in-law is my partner on the farm. So it's going to be handed down to my son-in-law on this one, just like my dad got it from my mom's family. Goat products are really on the way up. They're really exploding now. People are finding out how much more healthy they are for you than the cow products. And so we started 10 years ago with the goats, which was perfect timing. Ever since then, they've been moving up all along. The goat numbers are increasing by quite a bit in the United States. Even though they're the most popular product in the rest of the world, the U.S. is catching up with them rapidly. On the cow dairies, the problem they're having is cheese is still popular, but people aren't drinking fluid milk. They're teaching kids in schools that dairymen are mean to their cows. It's mean to put the cow in a pen. You got them in a jail, stuff like that. It's just a whole attitude out there about milk. And then they'll pull milk away from their kid and give them a Coke or some juice or something like that. They call it almond milk, but it's not. It's nut juice you're giving them. You're not giving them milk. The only milk comes out of a mammal. With the cows, it takes so much feed for them, so much space. Everything along that takes a lot more to do it. I mean, I used to milk cows. It took a place probably 10 times bigger than this one. But I think a cow and a goat both produce about $20 a day gross. And the goat is just so much easier to take care of and easier to maintain than the cow is. And then on the cow end, it's the waste also, which is lots of manure to get rid of. When they're eating 50 pounds of food a day, you got to get rid of all that. But on the other hand, when people who are vegetarians or vegans, they want to eat vegetables, they don't grow without manure. You have to fertilize fields. So you have a choice of either having cow manure to fertilize your field or goat manure or using chemical fertilizers. So you can't just grow. That's what happened to the Dust Bowl in the 20s when half the Midwest blew away. They didn't realize you had to put back into the earth to get it out of it, and it all dried up and blew away on them. And so you have to use manure of some type or a chemical fertilizer. You got to take your choice on that one. Ate a fly. The cellular structure of goat milk is 4 times smaller than a cow milk. And so it can just be consumed by anybody, babies, puppies, kittens, a horse, any baby who needs milk is fantastic for them. And for people, there's lots of people who think that they are lactose intolerant. They're able to drink and eat goat products because of that smaller structure of the milk. And then for people who think they're lactose intolerant and have to give out dairy products altogether, they can eat hard cheeses. When the process of making a hard cheese eats up all the lactose in the milk, there is no lactose in hard cheeses. So they think they have to give up all dairy. They don't. They can still eat hard cheese. If lactose is the problem, it is not there. Compared to the cows, the goats are a lot easier to take care of just on their size, but as far as their hooves, they're really a pain. The cows I had to trim once a year. You get them out, you give them a pedicure. The goats, I need to do them like every 2 to 3 months to keep them caught up. Now the reason is they don't weigh enough to wear them down. A cow weighs enough that they wear their hooves down. I have a friend that shoes horses. And he has to go do the miniature horses twice as often as he does the big horses because they don't wear them down. There's not enough weight there. So the same thing goes on with goats. We have 6 employees, and we have probably 300 head that we're feeding. And they'll run me probably $600 to $700 a day just for my feed bill. Our electric bill runs several grand a month. I'm not even sure what my labor is. It's up in the thousands and thousands of dollars. So we have to sell a lot of cheese to make it. Where with cow dairies, the milk price is set by the Wisconsin-Minnesota cheese price every month. They don't know what they're even going to get paid for their milk until 2 months after they've produced it. And according to that cheese price is what they get paid. And they're all losing money, like $2 per cow per day right now. And at least the way I do it now, I don't have any government involved. I can set my own prices. We make it or we don't. I just found out another restaurant closed down, and so we are probably going to go to home delivery. We have to have plan A, B, C, and if home delivery doesn't work, I'll probably go out of business. That's where we're at. I really enjoy milking the goats. We get to see the consumer, the chef, everyone who uses our product, being local like we are, it is just so much better. It's so much more satisfying. Before, when I was milking the cows, a tanker showed up every morning and they hauled off the milk. I never saw anybody, I never talked to anyone. Now I get to talk to people for a change. It's great. Having people tell you this is the best cheese I've ever eaten in my life is just fantastic. I mean, it makes it all worth it. We don't always do it the easiest, but we do it whatever is going to produce the best product. We've always been like that in our family. If it costs a little bit more, we do it. We want to make sure we're putting out the best product. On the hay we feed them, My neighbor grows it right across the river. He has fantastic alfalfa. We feed them just barley because people don't like corn nowadays. There's so much GMO corn and stuff like that. There's not any GMO barley, so we feed them just barley. My wife is the herdsman. She takes care of the health of the goats. If they're not healthy, they don't produce right. And if you don't just take the extra steps, like not keeping your bucks with your does, things like that, you end up with an inferior product, and you can't make a good cheese out of a crappy milk. You have to have really fantastic milk to make fantastic cheese. When we milk the goats, we make cheese out of that milk that day. We don't hold it over. We have to cool it while we're waiting, but other than that, it goes right in the pasteurizer and we start making cheese. If you hold it for days, it loses the flavor, it doesn't taste as good, and your cheese isn't going to be as good. I can make Chev today and have it in a restaurant in 48 hours. So it can be from this goat, today's Monday, and Wednesday they'll be serving it in a restaurant. And the chefs love it, and you can tell the difference in the flavor when it's that fresh. I mean, lots of times, don't you do it again. She almost ate through my microphone again. A lot of times the chefs, I have to tell them, watch out for the inspector because this cheese hasn't even cooled down yet. When they come in checking temperatures and walk-ins, and so I tell them, I put the cheese in there, but it's not even cool yet, it's that fresh.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy our documentaries as much as we enjoy making them. Unfortunately, many of our videos don't earn enough YouTube revenue to afford the cost of production. But if you like our content, the best thing you can do is directly support it on Patreon. Plus, you'll get access to behind-the-scenes vlogs and commentary. If you're looking for something more in return, go to paragraphic.io where you can buy our other products and services. Alternatively, you can shop our Amazon storefront for our favorite equipment recommendations. Also, check out Boca, where you can find beneficial supplements to optimize your productivity. We especially love the lion's mane and mushroom gummies. And finally, consider signing up to Multitude, a platform built for long-form content, where you and other content creators can share and monetize new videos every week.